Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the new PowerCon exclusive Masters of the Universe Origins Evil Horde set. So this is a 4-pack of figures that includes a variety of the Horde soldiers and even the Horde leader himself, Hordak. And it's something that was available only for PowerCon 2021. Commands a really hefty price for a set of figures like this, but I decided I really wanted in on it, especially for the cartoon colors Hordak that it comes with, where he's like actually blue and even has like the weapon attachment on the arm, unlike the regular figure. And you can see it comes with a big old box, so I'm pretty excited to open this up and review it for you guys. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging, both inner and outer box in this case. Then we'll open it up, we'll see the instructions, comic, anything that comes inside, and then we'll see the figures themselves, check out all their articulation, their features, their accessories. Naturally, we'll be doing plenty of group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So as I said, this new multi-pack comes in a very, very big box, and this is our outer box, done up the same stylings as the other PowerCon exclusives, or just plain cardboard, with some pencil-looking line art here on the front and on the back. The front one is the Horde emblem right here, with Hordak's face prominently displayed, with some bat wings around it. It says Masters of the Universe Adult Collector, so, you know, it's not a doll, Mom, okay? Action figure. Alright, you get the big MOTU logo here on the top. Now let's flip this bad boy around. Set it down carefully. Alright, and here's the back, which is far more decorative than the front. The front's very minimalist. So we actually get sketches of all of the figures. So you get Hordak, ruthless leader of the evil horde. I actually called out their heights, that's interesting. So 5.5 inches or 13.97 centimeters tall. In fact, they all say that, so it's kind of weird and random. I don't know. You get 2 Horde Troopers. You get the one right here, which is an evil Fright guard of Hordak. And then you get this other one wielding the same crossbow as Hordak, and I think this is like the dark colored one, like the black one. And he's the evil stealth soldier of Hordak, so it makes sense he's darkly colored. And then we even get Grizzlor, which is, in my opinion, just one of the ugliest MOTU characters in existence. Like, he just hurts to look at. But this one actually has like real fur and everything on it, so it's pretty cool. And Grizzlor is just the hairy henchman of the evil horde. So all very cool. We get a logo for the Horde right here, and then we get some nice flavor text, where it says, long ago, Hordak was trapped in another world by his evil apprentice Skeletor. Now Hordak is back, and he's brought the evil Horde with him. They're out to destroy Eternia, and they don't care who gets in the way. They're after both Skeletor and He-Man. Watch for the evil Horde bat symbol on these horrible warriors. So yeah, you'll notice, not just here, but on the individual figures, like the regular Hordak and everything, there actually is like the evil horde symbol denoting, you know, what their allegiance is. So that's pretty cool. You'll also notice that this whole thing is done up like it's on a piece of parchment, which is a very nice touch, very high fantasy. And what's interesting is down here, there's a little, looks like a memorial. It says, in honor and gratitude to Ted Meyer. Now, I might be crucified for this, but I don't know who Ted Meyer is. If anyone wants to educate me in the comments section, I would appreciate it, because I always like learning new things. So yeah, that is very sweet though. You always like to see that. Okay, now I learned my lesson from the duplicate box. Instead of struggling with this thing for a minute off camera, I'm going to do a jump cut now so we can see what's inside. Okay, I was not expecting this. Do you see this thing? I thought it was just going to be like another, you know, box set type packaging. No! What is this craziness? I love it. This is amazing. Wow. Alright, so we get this little, like, call it, kind of graded cylinder looking thing. I'm sure there's a name for it. I haven't been in geometry in a long time. Leave me alone. But wow, it's interesting. And this part rotates, and I'll show you what's inside here in a moment. But look at this. You get the Horde symbol up top, which I guess is from the line art here. You get, wasn't this was like one of the play sets, wasn't it? Was this like the ooze pit or something? I don't know. Looks very cool though. You got some vultures. You got some weird little something like, looks like it's from All Real Monsters. You get one of those gargoyles. Let me try to rotate this thing carefully so you can see all the way around. There's this really cool like mountain range. You get whatever that abomination is. That's cool. Now that's the ooze pit, right? Yeah, that's it. There's a slime monster of some sort. You get these look like pseudo-Greek ruins. more mountains, and then just loops back here. This is cool. That's got to be some of the coolest packaging I've ever seen. I didn't even know it was going to come in this. I had no idea. That is just really a nice surprise. It's so different from your standard box. Oh, man. Straighten this out a little. All right. Oh, yes, it rotates. Look, you can see, like, inside, and it looks like you're inside, like, a volcano. There's, like lava and stuff going on here. Some eyes staring at you from the darkness. Let's turn it this way, too, so you can see what that looks like. Look at that, bubbling lava everywhere. See all that? That's neat. All right, now we're gonna turn it all the way around. This is like a playset in of itself right here. Definitely keeping this packaging. All right, and womp womp. You'll notice something. It seems Hordak's lost his head a little bit here. Like, what? Now, interestingly, I don't think it's the first time I've seen a Hordak toy with the head popped off in package. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm pretty sure I can pop it right back on. I'm not sure how that happens in packaging. I've seen it happen before. I remember there was like a Combiner Wars Ironhide with his head popped off. I don't know. I'm not sure what causes that. Just bad assembly, I guess. All right, so you can see, along with our decapitated blue Hordak, we get our 2 troopers here, and then we get Grizzlor, who's still just so butt ugly. God, I hate Grizzlor. Why are you so ugly, bro? All right, and then, yeah, you just get more of the interior of the volcano. I mean, this is amazing. This is some of the coolest packaging I've ever seen. But we don't buy these for the packaging, so let's go ahead and open up all this and see what we find inside. All right, now we get to see all of our figures out of their packaging. So from left to right, we get Hordak, Grizzlor, and then our 2 Horde Troopers here. You can see they all come armed with the same crossbow weapon that comes with the regular Hordak figure. Grizzlor ends up getting an axe, which is actually one of the axes included with the deluxe Ram Man toy. And then our 2 Horde Troopers also get this kind of gargoyle-like staff here. It's also worth pointing out that this version of Hordak includes his little monstrous companion for his arm there. So they've all got a pretty good loadout and form a good starting point to build your own Horde army. Now to take a closer look at Hordak, you can see that he's mainly just a recolor of the original Hordak figure. It's got the same cape, the same chest piece, all that, the boots. The big difference, again, is this arm right here, which has now been turned into some sort of a weapon. I mean, I think it's like a laser cannon or something. That's what it looks like. Everything else about him, though, is the same. Now, you'll notice that he has a smiling face here, and that is because that is an alternate head. He does also include the standard issue scowling face sculpt that comes with the regular version of Hordak, so you get a choice there. Now, normally, I opt for the most vintage configuration possible, but because this toy is, not something that came in the original vintage line and is, kind of an original creation for Origins, I give him a little more leeway. So personally, I'm going to give him this smiling face to just help differentiate him from the standard Hordak a little bit more. Speaking of the standard Hordak, go ahead and slide this guy over, and here is his black and gray counterpart. Now, I think they're both pretty cool in their own right. They both have, very interesting colors, and what's really neat is that this new toy is a little bit more than just a plain palette swap of the original. He does swap out all the regular toys dark gray for a blue color, but then he also gets some added silver trim around his shoulders here, all around his little collar area, and even his face has been changed to get rid of the black facial hair-like markings around the cheeks there, and then he gets this blue forehead crest. He also gets a little bit of black under the eyes. So they put in a lot more effort than just like swapping out the gray to blue, and I think it makes for a nice effect. Now, personally, I do prefer Hordak's original colors over his TV show-inspired ones. I think they make him look much more evil. He's got this whole, Count Dracula vibe going on here with all the black and red. This new one, while cool in his own right, I think is just a little bit more confused when it comes to color coordination. It's got a lot of really just bright clashing colors with the bright red and bright blue, but also silver and black, and then white. I mean, he almost looks like an American flag, which is a weird choice for a character like Hordak. But again, not bad, just something a little bit different. Now here's our in-depth look at Grizzlor, and Grizzlor is pretty interesting compared to Hordak because he is so far an almost entirely original mold. He does reuse the crossbow from the regular Hordak toy, and he even gets one of Ram Man's axes, plus the little armband that comes on Hordak, but then everything else is completely different. He's also notable for having rooted hair, which makes him only the second Origins toy to have that, next to the other PowerCon exclusive from last year, which was the special edition She-Ra. And that, of course, does raise the question, if he does get a standard retail release, will it also have that rooted hair? Now, this version of Grizzlor is based off of one of two variants of the vintage toy. He's based off the one that had the dark brown face here. There was also one that had a much lighter colored face. So I would be willing to bet that if they released him at general retail, they'd probably go for that light-faced variant. But again, will that toy have the rooted hair? Things like fibrous hair or flocking do appear to be so far in the realm of exclusives. I'd imagine because, it must be more expensive to manufacture. So that, does leave you wondering, will they include that with the standard release? I hope they do. It would be an absolute shame if they just release one that just has like molded plastic hair or something, because it really takes that nostalgic factor out of the toy. I think one of the biggest mistakes that Mattel made was releasing a non-flocked version of Panther, and then eventually releasing a flocked one and just kind of incensing some people that settled for the plastic furred one, and then were like, really? I already bought this and now you're going to re-release it the way it should have been. So I hope they don't do that again. I really hope that we just get a retail figure that essentially looks like this, just colored differently. All right, so some things to point out with Grizzlor here. For one, due to the lack of any kind of bracers or gloves to help thicken his wrists, his crossbow sits very loosely on his arm. You can put it on there, and it kind of flops around a bit, so you gotta just kind of balance it in certain ways to make it work. He also does come with an alternate hand for his left arm here. Pop that off, and you can just give him another open hand if you'd like to. We'll go on there. It's a tight wrist socket. All right, and then you can, make him probably looking like he's about to lunge or attack. His head likes to pop off. All right. You can give him more of a wild appearance, like he's ready to leap on somebody and scratch at him and bite him and stuff. And he's pretty cool looking. You can see he's got this nice original chest harness with the Horde symbol right there on the front. Just wraps around the back here with your standard MOTU style buckles and tabs and stuff. And then his boots, initially I thought that these were actually reusing part of Hordak's boots, but they're not. They have the Horde symbol on there, but they also lack the ridged cuff there on the top. It's more smooth. So it is a different piece all around, which really makes me think that we will eventually get a retail version just so that they can get their money's worth out of, the new parts they created for this guy. But time will tell. We haven't heard anything on that front yet. Now to our Horde Troopers. As far as their bodies are concerned, these two are entirely original molds. The only reused part is just their crossbows again. And we do know that there is a standard issue silver Horde Trooper that's on its way here in the retail waves. So expect that to basically just be a recolor of these guys, and likely without the staff. I don't think it has a staff. But still, these guys are very cool. They have all their own unique parts, and they got these cool little gargoyle-like staffs here, which on the one side you can see it's kind of like the underbelly of the gargoyle, and then there's the back of it right there. And it's pretty intricately, molded. It's got all sorts of fine detail and ridges. For some reason, and I guess it's just an individual tolerance thing, my black trooper does not hold his weapon well at all. It sits in there very loosely. I basically just have to use gravity to keep it in his hand. This one, while it doesn't have the tightest grip, will at least keep the thing in his grip. This guy, I start moving it around, and there it goes. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully that doesn't affect every copy of the set, and it's just mine. But it is a potential issue you could face. Now, luckily, it's easy enough to pose him in a way where it won't drop it, but it is kind of annoying that he can't actually hold the thing firmly in his hand. Let's go ahead and remove their accessories for a moment. Get those out of the way so you can check out, how the figures work. Their heads are on the double ball joint, even though they're kind of partially contained in this neck socket thing. And everything else, you know, works the way that you'd expect it to. They got all that posability that all the other, like, male-based Origins figures have. But then they also have something special. They have a button right here. They have to hit this button pretty hard, but when you do, it didn't release easily, their torso area bursts open, as if you've just, like, done some sort of critical damage to the robot and broken it. He does it too here. So you get this. You see kind of like their robotic insides and stuff. And this is, you know, a neat little action feature that these guys and then their silver counterpart have to let your heroes, you know, smack them in that little chest symbol there with a weapon and have them burst open like that. And that's taken directly from the vintage toy, so it is really nice to see that's still intact here. Now, interestingly, once their chest area pops open, this is on a hinge. So it can lean, like, forward pretty far here, basically gaining ab crunch without their chest armor. I'm not sure why. Maybe just ease of construction or something, but they do end up having, all of a sudden, an ab crunch. They won't bend back, really. Not much more than like that. But they can lean forward pretty far. So I guess it's a good way to show, like, they want to, like, deactivate it or something, I suppose. Like, lay them down like that. So I don't know if it's intentional articulation, but it just works to give them a little bit more to play around with. And this completes our look at the new MOTU Origins Evil Horde. This is a very nice set, and it's a very cohesive set as well. A lot of those multi-packs that they release at conventions are usually a mixed bag of, like, good guys, bad guys. This is, you know, one set of Evil Horde characters. You get some of your big players in the form of Grizzlor and Hordak, and then some generic foot soldiers in the form of the Troopers. Now, technically, that doesn't mean you could army build this set, but it would be very expensive to do so because you'd have to buy, you know, the entire 4-pack over and over again, and this thing isn't cheap. So, I wouldn't personally recommend army building these unless you're just so wealthy you don't care. I mean, I guess you could, you know, sell off your extra Hordaks and Grizzlors. I'm sure people would buy them. Personally, though, if you're looking to army build, I would just wait for the generic Silver Trooper to come out. He'll be, you know, relatively plentiful, at least compared to this, and a lot cheaper. It'd be, you know, about, what, $17, $18 a piece. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation. But I really do love what we get here. We get a fully animation-accurate version of Hordak. Well, I mean, as animation-accurate as you can get with Origins proportions. But it is really cool. They put in a lot of effort, you know, give an entirely new arm, new face sculpt, great colorings. We get our first Grizzlor for Origins, so even if we don't get a retail one, we do at least have this guy. So we, you know, Grizzlor, like, that box is now checked. And I wasn't, you know, fully convinced he was going to happen until this was announced. And then our first look at the Horde Troopers, which are really, really cool. Their stabs, I think, are really, really well done. I love the detail. And I love their action feature where their whole chest just, like, bursts open like that. And they're sturdy, too. You know, the new tooling seems to be pretty solid. They stand up well. In fact, probably the one that has, like, the weakest, I guess, sturdiness or posability is Hordak himself. His knees are just a little bit looser than the others, but not nearly as bad as some other figures that I've, you know, had the misfortune of handling. He stands up just fine. I think it's really more so just the added weight from his cape that makes him more prone to lean back, but you shouldn't really have any issues. And Grizzlor, he's nice and solid too. I mean, I guess you kind of expect that because, you know, new tooling tends to be the tightest. So yeah, very, very happy with the set. I think it turned out very well. Definitely one of my favorite pieces from the convention. I don't know, it's kind of hard to decide between this or the Faker with Duplicat, and that's mostly for Duplicat. He's really cool. But, you know what, I think I'm going to say this is probably the best one. There's just too much here that's original and just really awesome, and honestly unexpected up until the announcement. So, yeah, I'd say this is probably the best set. And I really enjoyed reviewing it. I enjoyed, you know, messing around with them, and they're going to look really good on my shelf. So if you haven't gotten this, and you have the funds to do so, I would personally recommend it. If you're a hardcore MOTU collector, I mean, this is a little more niche than your standard releases, but if you are a hardcore collector, I feel like this set's kind of a must-have. Of course, that is just my opinion on this, so now I want to know what you think of it. Is this something that you really want to get? Did you happen to snag one when they were more readily available? And if you didn't, are you wishing you had, or are you going to try to find a way to get it? Or do you not want this? Either it's too expensive, too niche, or just some other reason, maybe you don't like the way they turned out. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this very cool look at the new PowerCon exclusive Masters of the Universe Origins, the Evil Horde. And with all that said, I will see you next time.